Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everyone. It's Duncan here with another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where we have a blast talking to founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage companies. And I'm so excited for our episode here today. We've got a great show lined up for you. And this episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-based food and beverage brands bring people closer together through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food and beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com and let's talk more. And I'm particularly excited today to welcome Brian Graham from 4 Day Ray. It's an amazing story. We're going to get into it. And Brian is the creative mind behind the brand and its distinctive brews, with a passion for crafting unique flavors and a knack for storytelling. He really brings a refreshing twist to the world of craft beer. He on a daily basis, you could find him dreaming up inventive names, or pushing the boundaries of brewing innovation. And I'm just really happy to have you today, Brian. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Duncan. That was an amazing introduction. So sometimes I feel like I'm just doing administrative work and just pushing paper. So all that sounded awesome.
Hey, I'm glad. I mean, let's just say this. I'm a shoot from the hip, get to it kind of guy. And the thing that I love about 4 Day Ray is that in a time when craft beer seems to be shrinking or kind of feeling under pressure, 4 Day Ray is charging forward.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for noticing. The segment of craft beer that I think is on the decline or shrinking or not growing is the distribution model. When we first opened, that was definitely a focus of ours to try to be a distribution model. And then obviously we have the restaurant alongside the brewery here. So, the Fisher's location ends up being more like a brew pub. And we do have, our distribution channels. So right now in the current state of the craft beer market, tap rooms are growing and brew pubs are growing, but the overall category itself is not growing. So our model, we've pivoted based on what the market has, been doing and what we've been seeing. Since we have the restaurant and Fisher's, we've seen great success with that. And, our goal now is how can we sell more beer across the bar? And opening tap rooms and other restaurants is really how we see a way forward. Also still, having our distribution channel. But I think, people enjoy our products. And, it's one of those things where we just want to be involved in more communities and we want to provide more opportunity in those communities and, expanding and offering more of our restaurant and tap room experiences there. We feel like that's a really good way to do it.
I love that perspective. And speaking of being part of communities, I know that one of the things that people are looking for from craft beer and from tap rooms is a good experience. And you guys really seem to nail that. You've got great food, great drinks, but you also have managed to bring good service into play, which 10 years ago, probably tap rooms for craft beers would have been, who cares? We don't need good service because everybody already wants to be in here.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we try to make sure that the staff is well taken care of. We want them to know that we care. Obviously I'm the owner, I'm on site every day. And I think that has been the secret to our success of being able to offer good service. When the employees feel like, and our staff feels like they are appreciated and they stick around. So, obviously this business, there is a lot of turnover. And, we have it, so I'm not going to say that we're not, subject to that, but we do have a lot of long-term tenured employees here who some have been with us since the beginning. So I think we do a nice job of letting them know that we care. I have an open door policy. If there's a problem and, people feel like, hey, it's not really being addressed the way I wanted to, they can come talk to me, and we're going to figure it out. So it's just people, right? We're having real conversations. Sometimes they're hard, and but it's getting resolved. And so I think that really allows us to really give good service. So we care, therefore it passes down to the staff, and they care.
I mean, that's really beautiful, right? Put people first and they will put you first. So the fact that you've had team members there from the beginning, I think says everything. And community, and you've always been big on community from your inception, but now community is being touted as the kind of like secret or part of the secret of having a successful not just tap room, but business. And you've nailed community for so many different reasons. Let's just talk about that. What's your philosophy on community?
Yeah, thanks. We obviously, beer is something that brings people together. It always has over the centuries, and people getting together over a pint. And that part of it is creating community by offering great beer styles that people want to drink. So there's that aspect of it, and bringing friends and family together in community and being able to have them sit down at a table and have a conversation and spend time together, which I think we could all say that everybody really needs more of that, and just personal face-to-face communication. And what better way to do that than over a beer? And then, there's the community aspect of it, in the sense of we're in the community of Fishers, or we're in the community of Yorktown, and offering opportunities for people in those communities to work, for us and be part of our staff. And then also for us to give back to those communities through our Tap for a Cause program that we run on a monthly basis. Those two, that's how we describe community for us. And our tagline is brewed for community. And so it's not only people getting together over a beer, but it's also us helping and making an impact in the communities that we're in.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to get right into community, because I know it's a critical part of your business and you really live it. The Tap for a Cause program has been around since the beginning and is a vibrant part of your culture.
Yeah, so I've had experience in the restaurant industry, from prior, restaurants that I've had, and one of the more popular things to do is called Dine to Donate. Most people are familiar with this. An organization approaches you and they say, okay, well, on this certain day, we're going to have a flyer and we're going to send people in. And then based on all of the sales, you're going to give us a donation. And that's great. And it's been done that way forever and ever and ever. But it just really doesn't work very well, in the sense, from my perspective as a business, I think the organizations underestimate their ability, they overestimate their ability to mobilize their group of people to try to, drive traffic in on that particular day, which, obviously benefits them because we're giving money back. But, when I hand a check over to somebody for $80, that's just not going to help anyone, and it's not very impactful. So, we did research and found some programs out among other breweries that they were doing that we thought, hey, this seems way more impactful. And, it sounds like we could probably do a lot more with this. And so now, we partner with an organization for an entire month, and every Tuesday from 4 till 9 o'clock, all of the sales, not profits, all the sales from 4 to 9, we give back 5% of the sales from our locations. So we're able to, provide a much larger donation. We provide social media support during that month, as well as allow the charity that we're working with. They come in, they set up a table, they're able to talk to people that come into the restaurant and be able to, just further explain what they're doing, what they're about, and hopefully just raise awareness for what they're trying to do. So I think it really is a good partnership, and it's a month long, and I think it really benefits everyone in the long run a lot better.
I mean, it really is a win-win because it's sizable in terms of the percentage. And as you said, it's not a percentage of net income, it's a percentage of sales, which is a big difference. and it's over the course of a month. And so, as a parent or as a stakeholder in an organization, can't always make it on a certain day with everyone's busy lives. So doing it on 4 different days, I think is so smart. And it seems like customers today, communities today are really interested in their in their tap room or their breweries brand values, which who would have ever thought that that would be a thing, right? It's like, hey, the beer is enough or the food's enough. But now the brand values come into play. And you all have some really lovely brand values. In fact, the whole name of your company is based on one of those values. Let's talk about that. Where did the name 4 Day Ray come from?
Yeah. So we're here just a stone throw away from the old nickel plate railroad, which is now a trail, which is awesome. We love that. And we wanted to give a nod to the railroad. So the name is actually slang for a rail employee that habitually calls off work 1 day a week. So, we want people to just take some time and enjoy, whatever it is that they, want to do on a day off and just relax.
So one way of looking at it is calling off 1 day a week. The other way of looking at it is it's a 4 day work week. And the third way of looking at it is it's a 3 day weekend. And
right.
So I love that. And so leisure and lifestyle and connecting over a beer, you're providing the social glue. That's really a key part of the brand.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And just to take that further, we just try to encourage people with a little bit of humor on the can design that we have. We make some suggestions on what people could do with their day off or the day that they're taking or their 3 day weekend. So that's always fun. And, the things that are on those cans are actually real things that you can look up on the internet and do. And one of my favorites is extreme ironing. So I just encourage people to look that up there. The images are amazing and what people are actually doing. So it's pretty cool.
Extreme ironing. I think that's amazing. The one I'm looking at is the Blueberry Blonde, and it says, take the day to go baby pool lounging, which, listen, there are many of us who have done that. Lawn darts and wakeboarding. So it's got a little bit for the whimsical person and the hardcore leisure person as well. Don't feel blue. Oh, yeah. Our freshly picked Blueberry Blonde is sure to make you very happy all summer long. So that's beautiful.
Thank you. Well played, sir.
Hey, listen, I had to prep for that one. So that's naturally to me. But I think and not to mention the can design, what's the philosophy? I wanted to come straight from you. What's the philosophy behind the can design? Because it really does stand out.
Thank you. So I got to give a plug. So Kodo, they're local here to Indianapolis, and we did a kind of a reboot of our branding back in 2018, I think it was. And, when you look at a shelf, you're trying to get a billboard effect. You're probably familiar with this. So in retail, that's really important. So you want the whole brand to look like it goes together. And so when you have these monochrome cans against a lot of the, crazy art and the different things that are going on the shelf right now, they do tend to stick out just because, you have that monochrome going on. And, we tend to, there's a rainbow of colors that you can see. So, they're understated, but then when you put them all together and then you're looking at them on an entire shelf, they do create that billboard effect that, you want from a branding standpoint.
That's really smart. And I was looking at the collaboration beer. Let's see, it's the Moon Rays. And yeah. I was wondering, that is definitely an experience that you all have the opportunity to do is when you're collaborating with other breweries. What's that collaboration process like?
It's great. The guys at Moontown are awesome. That's who we did the collaboration with. That was the second of 2 that we did. And, you get together over some beers, obviously. Generally there's a talk about, well, what are we interested in brewing? You typically want to do something that you may have never done before, just from an experimental standpoint, because it is a collaboration. It may or may not be ever brewed again. So, I think having some of those elements in there helps make it exciting. And then you generally will, pick, hey, where are we going to brew this? We did 2 of these. So the first one that we did, we brewed at our brewery. And then the Moonrays we did at their location. And, the collaboration is really fun. It really promotes a lot of camaraderie. And, I think from, our aspect, and I think theirs as well, the beer sold really well, and it was well received from, both guest bases at both breweries.
And Brian, one of the things I think is so interesting about the way you roll is that you are very committed to innovation. So I guess what role does that play in your life? Whether it's the new glassware that you've unveiled, or how you keep employees happy. What role does innovation play in your work?
I think, personally, I hold myself to a high standard, and we're just constantly trying to make things the best that they can be, and whether it's the glass and giving our guests the best beer experience from a glass standpoint. I don't think many people know what glass you drink the beer out of makes a huge difference, even to the point of drinking out of a can or a bottle. Even if you pour, pick your macro brew of choice into a glass, it's still going to taste better than if you're drinking it out of a can or a bottle. So, those are the types of things that we're always trying to make better. Our brewing process. We go to the Craft Brewers Conference every year, so we're constantly, doing continuing education. We listen to brewer podcasts. So, there's a lot of things going on, in the background that we try to make sure that we're putting the best product forward that we can.
And what role does social media play in all of this? How does 4 Day Ray roll with that?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm 51 now, and for me, social media is a distraction just because I have so much going on. But, we definitely are trying to embrace that more, just because, we would like to attract a younger audience. We feel like we have, a lot to offer in that regard. We feel like our brand, can resonate with a lot of younger beer drinkers, just because, we do care about the community, and we're not just here to make a buck. So, we're trying to embrace that. We really haven't been very active on TikTok up to this point, before, joining with you guys. So it's something that we know is important, and we just want to do a better job of that too. And, we want to have fun with it. And I think, up to this point, it's kind of felt like little sterile or mechanical. And so we just want to let people know that we are fun here and we have a really good personality. And, we just want people to enjoy the beer too.
That's fantastic. And let's talk a little bit about your location in Yorktown. What was the rationale or the process or logic behind picking Yorktown?
Yeah. So, if you think about the area, Yorktown sits between Muncie and Anderson. So it's about 10 minutes, either way from both of those. And then, you have Ball State right there in Muncie. And then there's a volleyball complex up there, Munciana, probably one of the most, one of the premier Midwest volleyball programs in the country and in the Midwest, obviously. But so, there's people there coming for tournaments. So the area was kind of a restaurant desert, if you will. And we just, the town is investing in themselves, as a lot of, smaller towns are these days. And, there was a new building that went up and there was retail space there. And so we thought, well, with the college as close as it is, we should be able to, do a fairly nice job of attracting good staff. And so it all kind of came together, and, we're trying out a new concept. We're adding pizza up there and some of our most popular menu items from the Fisher's location. So, so far it's been good. Obviously it's a new restaurant, so we're working the kinks out, and we appreciate everybody's patience up there while we do figure it out. But, hopefully it won't be very much longer before we have it dialed in.
I mean, everything that I hear from people who live in Fishers, my wife has a business in Fishers, is that Fishers is a progressive pro-business place. The mayor is really interested in making sure that businesses taken care of and have incentives. And it looks like that's the same thing in Yorktown. So it seems like, hey, the place does have a role to play in the success of the business.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I would say that there's a changing of the guard going on with their city council or their town council. You have just younger people taking an interest in the politics there, and they want to, make their town the best that they can make it, and just don't want to see things, go the way that they've been going. And so, the council has been very supportive, and we really do well in an environment where you have that, where the town or the city is involved, and they want you to be successful. And we had that here in Fishers, and so when we noticed that was going to be the same type of environment up there, it really helped us make it an easy decision for us.
That's a really great insight. And Quadruple, are you listening? So, so the Indiana Flyer, I'm holding an Indiana Flyer in my hand, and that has got a beautiful nostalgic feel to it. What's the story behind the Indiana Flyer?
Yeah, so we wanted you to know immediately by looking at the can what was going to be inside. It's a classic red, white, and blue motif. It kind of has a sort of Pabst Blue Ribbon reminiscent, kind of thing going on. And so we just wanted you to know it was going to be an American lager, and it was going to be well brewed. And, those are, kind of like vintage style American lagers. So just by looking at the can, we wanted you to know what you were going to be getting.
Is that also code for the word sessionable code for being able to drink a lot of it?
Yeah, it's probably like 4.2% maybe on a good day. It's crisp, it's clean. For some people, it still has a little bit too much flavor. That's why, the blood orange is our number one seller. It's just real smooth, and it has a little bit of a citrus kick to it, but both are really good lawnmower beers or boat beers, and they do really well.
And let me ask you this, Brian, how you have had an interesting career. How did you decide? How did you and your partners decide we're gonna open a brewing company?
Well, I live in Westfield, so I was actually so I'm the founder. When I was looking at sites and trying to figure out where the brewery needed to open, Westfield was my main, my first go-to. And then when the full ownership group was put together, there's 4 of us. I was in Westfield and everybody else was in Fishers. And so, we had some connections. This was back in 2016. Fishers was still developing the downtown area. And, there really wasn't anything in the area where we're at right now. The Switch building, I think that's what it's called. And then the depot and everything, there's still houses in this area. Meyer and Agent, was, I think, just finished, but, it was still all in development. So we were kind of the first in. And, obviously Fishers at that time was at least double the population of Westfield. So, there are a lot of things about it that made a lot of sense. And again, the city was nothing but great to work with. They wanted us here, and they've been a great support for us because literally we're like a block and a half away from City Hall. So,
and let me ask you this, Brian, with Generation Z or Gen Z having kind of grown up around craft beer, right? So those of us that are millennials or Xers or boomers, it's like craft beer was something so special because it was so different than the corporate beer that came before it. Now you got a generation, craft beer is what they know. What's it like having Gen Z people as customers?
Yeah, and I think, as most things are cyclical, right? And I would say that there is some aspect of this industry where, you try to push things like so far beyond, what like actually beer is, right? And trying to be creative and offer the next new thing. And, sometimes I think, I'm a traditionalist, but, I think sometimes the industry could just lose its way in that regard, right? I always comment, and it's really funny, and people laugh when I say it, but it's like, hey, where did the beer flavored beer go? And I think we're going to see, I think we're going to see some of that come back, because like how many, 12.5% bourbon barrel, vanilla, cherry, whatever, how many of those can you really drink? I mean, we're talking about community, and we're talking about people being more cognizant of their health and wanting to drink less, that kind of thing. Just if you want to stay in business, I mean, you need to be able to sell more than one beer, and selling a 12.5% whatever, or even 8% at that matter. It's not going to be, the consumer is not wanting that. And so then like, okay, well, did we forget how to brew something that's, 5% that tastes really good that people want to drink, more than one of? I don't know. So I think that's kind of my opinion on that. And I think, all beer doesn't have to be 8% and above. Like, we've always made lower alcohol beers. That was kind of one of our things when we started. It was, oh, okay, well, you got all these people and they're making all these things, but like, it's beer, and you need to, you need to be responsible with it. And it just helps us make more money, and it helps bars and restaurants make more money, and consumers aren't, putting themselves in danger, and they can still be health conscious. So
Totally.
It's a win-win, I think.
Like drink a triple and you only drink one, maximum two, right? So
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
What and I think that the Gen Z pieces, I think the way I'm seeing it is that they take good beer for granted. Like they just expect good beer. They and they're more, I think they're more critical. They have a higher standard for food. They want good service. They want a good experience. So I think that, hey, you guys are doing all the right things there. What exciting things are going on in your world, that you want to talk about?
I mean, obviously the Yorktown expansion, we are, trying to figure out, what our next steps are after that. I think obviously dialing that in and figuring out what the concept needs to look like, with the size and, just the scale of Fishers. And I don't really think that's a repeatable model, just in this day and age, trying to be smart about costs and being able to deliver a good product, but at, in a business that's actually going to make money. We have to be cognizant of that. So I think that's what we're trying out in Yorktown. So, we would like to be in other communities around the city and be able to provide our experience and our beer. And what other exciting things? I mean, we're, I don't know. The expansion right now, the Yorktown is really consuming a lot of time. So
super cool. And, if you're listening and you're a central Indiana person, or even an Indiana person or coming into Indiana, definitely check out either the Fishers location or the Yorktown location. I'm sure they're going to be different and unique in their own ways. Let me ask you this, Brian. You are a consummate entrepreneur. How do you take care of Brian? Like, how does Brian relax?
I really enjoy baking, and I like cooking and anything to do with smoking meats. I have an associate's degree in culinary arts, so that's part of my thing, right? When we opened, I was gonna have, initially the concept was like a tap room with some street tacos, and when we decided to do the Fishers location, I told the guys, I said, hey, look, I'm the last person that wants to open a restaurant because we're trying to do this to open a brewery. But due to the location where we're at, we really need a restaurant. So, when you have good beer, naturally you want good food to go with that. And, it's more responsible, obviously, people hang around longer. Just creating community over food and beverage. I mean, those two just go together. So, from that standpoint, it warms my heart to see people come in. And, that's the experience ultimately that I like to provide, whether it's at my home and I'm entertaining or here, at Four Day Ray and either of our locations, seeing people get together and enjoying their time together over good food and beverages. I mean, that's awesome. And that's what makes me happy.
That's really great. I want to say to you that it's such a grind. It's such a commitment to be a founder and an entrepreneur that I want to thank you for making the world better. With the service you provide and the community that you support and the organizations in the community. I mean, I don't think as founders we get thanked enough. So I make it a point to thank all our guests for the work they're doing and the difference that they're making. I mean, you're making the world better. Thank you, Brian.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And also thank you for being a guest today. It really means a lot to us. And I'm excited about the work we're doing together. And, we wish you the best and hope you come back again as a guest.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you having me. It's been great. Thanks, Duncan.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where we feature founders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. And this has been a great episode with Brian Graham from 4 Day Ray. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.